1 hour listening to English training.
英文加中文配音，每天1小时英语听力练习。
Good morning, everyone. You won't believe what happened to me on my way to work today. Good morning, everyone. You won't believe what happened to me on my way to work today.
大家早上好，你们绝对不会相信我今天上班路上发生了什么事。
Good morning, everyone. You won't believe what happened to me on my way to work today. Good morning, everyone. You won't believe what happened to me on my way to work today. I was driving along the highway when suddenly I heard this loud bang. I was driving along the highway when suddenly I heard this loud bang.
我正在高速公路上开车，突然听到一声巨响。
I was driving along the highway when suddenly I heard this loud bang. I was driving along the highway when suddenly I heard this loud bang. At first I thought someone was shooting fireworks or something. At first I thought someone was shooting fireworks or something.
起初我以为有人在放烟火什么的。
At first I thought someone was shooting fireworks or something. At first I thought someone was shooting fireworks or something. But then my car started pulling to the right and I realized my tire had blown out. But then my car started pulling to the right and I realized my tire had blown out.
但接着我的车开始向右偏，我意识到轮胎爆了。
But then my car started pulling to the right and I realized my tire had blown out. But then my car started pulling to the right and I realized my tire had blown out. I had to pull over to the shoulder of the road immediately. I had to pull over to the shoulder of the road immediately.
我不得不立刻把车开到路肩上。
I had to pull over to the shoulder of the road immediately. I had to pull over to the shoulder of the road immediately. Thank goodness there wasn't much traffic at that time of the morning. Thank goodness there wasn't much traffic at that time of the morning.
谢天谢地，早上那个时候车流量不大。
Thank goodness there wasn't much traffic at that time of the morning. Thank goodness there wasn't much traffic at that time of the morning. I got out to check the damage and sure enough, my front left tire was completely flat. I got out to check the damage and sure enough, my front left tire was completely flat.
我下车检查损坏情况，果然，我的左前轮完全没气了。
I got out to check the damage and sure enough, my front left tire was completely flat. I got out to check the damage and sure enough, my front left tire was completely flat. The worst part is that I was wearing my brand new white shirt today. The worst part is that I was wearing my brand new white shirt today.
最糟糕的是，我今天穿的是全新的白衬衫。
The worst part is that I was wearing my brand new white shirt today. The worst part is that I was wearing my brand new white shirt today. Of course, changing a tire is never a clean job, is it? Of course, changing a tire is never a clean job, is it?
当然，换轮胎从来都不是什么干净活，对吧？
Of course, changing a tire is never a clean job, is it? Of course, changing a tire is never a clean job, is it? I opened my trunk to get the spare tire and jack. I opened my trunk to get the spare tire and jack.
我打开后备箱取备用轮胎和千斤顶。
I opened my trunk to get the spare tire and jack. I opened my trunk to get the spare tire and jack. But here's the funny part. I couldn't find the jack anywhere. But here's the funny part. I couldn't find the jack anywhere.
但有趣的是，我到处都找不到千斤顶。
But here's the funny part. I couldn't find the jack anywhere. But here's the funny part. I couldn't find the jack anywhere. I spent 10 minutes searching through all the junk in my trunk. I spent 10 minutes searching through all the junk in my trunk.
我花了10分钟翻遍了后备箱里的所有杂物。
I spent 10 minutes searching through all the junk in my trunk. I spent 10 minutes searching through all the junk in my trunk. Finally found it hidden under a pile of old shopping bags. Finally found it hidden under a pile of old shopping bags.
最后在一堆旧购物袋下面找到了它。
Finally found it hidden under a pile of old shopping bags. Finally found it hidden under a pile of old shopping bags. You know how it is, we all throw stuff back there and forget about it. You know how it is, we all throw stuff back there and forget about it.
你知道的，我们都会把东西扔到后面，然后忘记。
You know how it is, we all throw stuff back there and forget about it. You know how it is, we all throw stuff back there and forget about it. So there I was, trying to figure out how to use this ancient jack. So there I was, trying to figure out how to use this ancient jack.
于是我就在那里试图搞清楚如何使用这个古董千斤顶。
So there I was, trying to figure out how to use this ancient jack. So there I was, trying to figure out how to use this ancient jack. I swear car jacks are designed by people who never actually change tires. I swear car jacks are designed by people who never actually change tires.
我发誓，汽车千斤顶是由从不换轮胎的人设计的。
I swear car jacks are designed by people who never actually change tires. I swear car jacks are designed by people who never actually change tires. After struggling for about 20 minutes, this nice elderly gentleman stopped to help. After struggling for about 20 minutes, this nice elderly gentleman stopped to help.
挣扎了大约20分钟后，一位好心的老先生停下来帮忙。
After struggling for about 20 minutes, this nice elderly gentleman stopped to help. After struggling for about 20 minutes, this nice elderly gentleman stopped to help. He took one look at what I was doing and just started laughing. He took one look at what I was doing and just started laughing.
他看了一眼我在做什么，就开始大笑。
He took one look at what I was doing and just started laughing. He took one look at what I was doing and just started laughing. Turns out I had been trying to put the jack in the wrong position the whole time. Turns out I had been trying to put the jack in the wrong position the whole time.
原来我一直在试图把千斤顶放错位置。
Turns out I had been trying to put the jack in the wrong position the whole time. Turns out I had been trying to put the jack in the wrong position the whole time. He showed me the proper spot under the car frame in about 2 seconds. He showed me the proper spot under the car frame in about 2 seconds.
他在大约2秒钟内就向我展示了车架下的正确位置。
He showed me the proper spot under the car frame in about 2 seconds. He showed me the proper spot under the car frame in about 2 seconds. With his help, we had the tire changed in less than 15 minutes. With his help, we had the tire changed in less than 15 minutes.
在他的帮助下，我们在不到15分钟内就换好了轮胎。
With his help, we had the tire changed in less than 15 minutes. With his help, we had the tire changed in less than 15 minutes. I offered to buy him coffee or something, but he just smiled and drove away. I offered to buy him coffee or something, but he just smiled and drove away.
我提议请他喝咖啡什么的，但他只是笑笑就开车走了。
I offered to buy him coffee or something, but he just smiled and drove away. I offered to buy him coffee or something, but he just smiled and drove away. There are still good people in this world, you know? There are still good people in this world, you know?
这个世界上还是有好人的，你知道吗？
There are still good people in this world, you know? There are still good people in this world, you know? Anyway, by the time I got back on the road, I was already 30 minutes late. Anyway, by the time I got back on the road, I was already 30 minutes late.
总之，当我重新上路时，我已经迟到了30分钟。
Anyway, by the time I got back on the road, I was already 30 minutes late. Anyway, by the time I got back on the road, I was already 30 minutes late. And of course, now that I was running late, every traffic light turned red. And of course, now that I was running late, every traffic light turned red.
当然，现在我迟到了，每个红绿灯都变成了红色。
And of course, now that I was running late, every traffic light turned red. And of course, now that I was running late, every traffic light turned red. It's like the universe has a sense of humor, doesn't it? It's like the universe has a sense of humor, doesn't it?
就像宇宙有幽默感一样，不是吗？
It's like the universe has a sense of humor, doesn't it? It's like the universe has a sense of humor, doesn't it? I called ahead to let you guys know I'd be late, but nobody answered the office phone. I called ahead to let you guys know I'd be late, but nobody answered the office phone.
我提前打电话告诉你们我会迟到，但没人接办公室电话。
I called ahead to let you guys know I'd be late, but nobody answered the office phone. I called ahead to let you guys know I'd be late, but nobody answered the office phone. Probably because everyone was still getting their morning coffee. Probably because everyone was still getting their morning coffee.
可能是因为每个人都还在喝早晨咖啡。
Probably because everyone was still getting their morning coffee. Probably because everyone was still getting their morning coffee. When I finally arrived, I looked like I'd been wrestling with a bear. When I finally arrived, I looked like I'd been wrestling with a bear.
当我终于到达时，我看起来像是和熊搏斗过一样。
When I finally arrived, I looked like I'd been wrestling with a bear. When I finally arrived, I looked like I'd been wrestling with a bear. My shirt was dirty, my hands were covered in grease, and my hair was a mess. My shirt was dirty, my hands were covered in grease, and my hair was a mess.
我的衬衫很脏，手上沾满了油脂，头发也乱糟糟的。
My shirt was dirty, my hands were covered in grease, and my hair was a mess. My shirt was dirty, my hands were covered in grease, and my hair was a mess. Sarah from accounting took one look at me and asked if I'd been in an accident. Sarah from accounting took one look at me and asked if I'd been in an accident.
会计部的莎拉看了我一眼，问我是不是出事故了。
Sarah from accounting took one look at me and asked if I'd been in an accident. Sarah from accounting took one look at me and asked if I'd been in an accident. I explained the whole tire situation and she just nodded knowingly. I explained the whole tire situation and she just nodded knowingly.
我解释了整个轮胎的情况，她会意地点了点头。
I explained the whole tire situation and she just nodded knowingly. I explained the whole tire situation and she just nodded knowingly. Apparently, the same thing happened to her husband last month. Apparently, the same thing happened to her husband last month.
显然，上个月她丈夫也遇到了同样的事情。
Apparently, the same thing happened to her husband last month. Apparently, the same thing happened to her husband last month. He ended up calling a tow truck because he couldn't get the spare tire off. He ended up calling a tow truck because he couldn't get the spare tire off.
他最后叫了拖车，因为他拆不下备用轮胎。
He ended up calling a tow truck because he couldn't get the spare tire off. He ended up calling a tow truck because he couldn't get the spare tire off. At least I managed to fix it myself, even if I looked ridiculous doing it. At least I managed to fix it myself, even if I looked ridiculous doing it.
至少我设法自己修好了，即使我做的时候看起来很可笑。
At least I managed to fix it myself, even if I looked ridiculous doing it. At least I managed to fix it myself, even if I looked ridiculous doing it. The funny thing is, I just had my car serviced 2 weeks ago. The funny thing is, I just had my car serviced 2 weeks ago.
有趣的是，我2周前刚保养过车。
The funny thing is, I just had my car serviced 2 weeks ago. The funny thing is, I just had my car serviced 2 weeks ago. They checked everything: brakes, engine fluids, but nobody looked at the tires. They checked everything: brakes, engine fluids, but nobody looked at the tires.
他们检查了所有东西，刹车、发动机、机油，但没人看轮胎。
They checked everything: brakes, engine fluids, but nobody looked at the tires. They checked everything: brakes, engine fluids, but nobody looked at the tires. Now I know why they say you should check your tire pressure regularly. Now I know why they say you should check your tire pressure regularly.
现在我知道为什么他们说应该定期检查轮胎气压了。
Now I know why they say you should check your tire pressure regularly. Now I know why they say you should check your tire pressure regularly. I've been driving for 15 years and this was my first flat tire. I've been driving for 15 years and this was my first flat tire.
我开车已经15年了，这是我第一次爆胎。
I've been driving for 15 years and this was my first flat tire. I've been driving for 15 years and this was my first flat tire. I guess I was overdue for some car trouble, right? I guess I was overdue for some car trouble, right?
我想我早就该遇到一些汽车故障了，对吧？
I guess I was overdue for some car trouble, right? I guess I was overdue for some car trouble, right? The repair shop quoted me $200 for a new tire. The repair shop quoted me $200 for a new tire.
修理厂给我报价$200买一个新轮胎。
The repair shop quoted me $200 for a new tire. The repair shop quoted me $200 for a new tire. $200. Can you believe that? $200. Can you believe that?
$200，你能相信吗？
$200. Can you believe that? $200. Can you believe that? I remember when you could get a decent tire for $50. I remember when you could get a decent tire for $50.
我记得以前50块钱就能买到一个不错的轮胎。
I remember when you could get a decent tire for $50. I remember when you could get a decent tire for $50. But everything's expensive these days, isn't it? But everything's expensive these days, isn't it?
但现在什么都很贵，不是吗？
But everything's expensive these days, isn't it? But everything's expensive these days, isn't it? I'm thinking about shopping around for a better price. I'm thinking about shopping around for a better price.
我在考虑货比三家找个更好的价格。
I'm thinking about shopping around for a better price. I'm thinking about shopping around for a better price. Maybe I'll check out that discount tire place on Main Street. Maybe I'll check out that discount tire place on Main Street.
也许我会去主街上那家折扣轮胎店看看。
Maybe I'll check out that discount tire place on Main Street. Maybe I'll check out that discount tire place on Main Street. My brother-in-law swears by them, says they're half the price of the big chains. My brother-in-law swears by them, says they're half the price of the big chains.
我姐夫对他们赞不绝口，说他们的价格是大连锁店的一半。
My brother-in-law swears by them, says they're half the price of the big chains. My brother-in-law swears by them, says they're half the price of the big chains. Of course you get what you pay for, so I'm a bit nervous about cheap tires. Of course you get what you pay for, so I'm a bit nervous about cheap tires.
当然，一分价钱一分货，所以我对便宜轮胎有点紧张。
Of course you get what you pay for, so I'm a bit nervous about cheap tires. Of course you get what you pay for, so I'm a bit nervous about cheap tires. I don't want to end up stranded on the highway again next month. I don't want to end up stranded on the highway again next month.
我不想下个月再次被困在高速公路上。
I don't want to end up stranded on the highway again next month. I don't want to end up stranded on the highway again next month. Speaking of which, I should probably check the spare tire I put on. Speaking of which, I should probably check the spare tire I put on.
说到这个，我应该检查一下我装上的备用轮胎。
Speaking of which, I should probably check the spare tire I put on. Speaking of which, I should probably check the spare tire I put on. It's one of those temporary donuts that aren't supposed to go very fast. It's one of those temporary donuts that aren't supposed to go very fast.
这是那种临时的小备胎，不应该开得太快。
It's one of those temporary donuts that aren't supposed to go very fast. It's one of those temporary donuts that aren't supposed to go very fast. The maximum speed is supposed to be 50 miles per hour. The maximum speed is supposed to be 50 miles per hour.
最高时速应该是每小时50英里。
The maximum speed is supposed to be 50 miles per hour. The maximum speed is supposed to be 50 miles per hour. But you know how people drive around here 50 feels like crawling. But you know how people drive around here 50 feels like crawling.
但你知道这里的人怎么开车，50英里感觉像在爬行。
But you know how people drive around here 50 feels like crawling. But you know how people drive around here 50 feels like crawling. I had cars honking at me the whole way to work this morning. I had cars honking at me the whole way to work this morning.
今天早上上班的路上，汽车一直在按喇叭。
I had cars honking at me the whole way to work this morning. I had cars honking at me the whole way to work this morning. One guy even rolled down his window to yell at me. One guy even rolled down his window to yell at me.
有个家伙甚至摇下车窗对我大喊。
One guy even rolled down his window to yell at me. One guy even rolled down his window to yell at me. I wanted to explain about the spare tire, but he sped off before I could. I wanted to explain about the spare tire, but he sped off before I could.
我想解释备用轮胎的事，但他在我还没来得及说之前就飞速离开了。
I wanted to explain about the spare tire, but he sped off before I could. I wanted to explain about the spare tire, but he sped off before I could. Road rage is getting worse every year, don't you think? Road rage is getting worse every year, don't you think?
路怒症每年都在恶化，你不觉得吗？
Road rage is getting worse every year, don't you think? Road rage is getting worse every year, don't you think? People are so impatient these days, always in such a hurry. People are so impatient these days, always in such a hurry.
现在的人们如此没有耐心，总是这么匆忙。
People are so impatient these days, always in such a hurry. People are so impatient these days, always in such a hurry. Back in my day, people were more courteous on the road. Back in my day, people were more courteous on the road.
在我那个年代，人们在路上更有礼貌。
Back in my day, people were more courteous on the road. Back in my day, people were more courteous on the road. Oh, listen to me, I sound like my father complaining about kids these days. Oh, listen to me, I sound like my father complaining about kids these days.
哦，听听我的话，我听起来像我父亲在抱怨现在的孩子。
Oh, listen to me, I sound like my father complaining about kids these days. Oh, listen to me, I sound like my father complaining about kids these days. Anyway, the whole experience taught me a few things. Anyway, the whole experience taught me a few things.
无论如何，整个经历教会了我一些事情。
Anyway, the whole experience taught me a few things. Anyway, the whole experience taught me a few things. First, I need to keep better emergency supplies in my car. First, I need to keep better emergency supplies in my car.
首先，我需要在车里准备更好的应急用品。
First, I need to keep better emergency supplies in my car. First, I need to keep better emergency supplies in my car. A proper flashlight, some work gloves, maybe a tarp to kneel on. A proper flashlight, some work gloves, maybe a tarp to kneel on.
一个合适的手电筒，一些工作手套，也许还有一块跪着的防水布。
A proper flashlight, some work gloves, maybe a tarp to kneel on. A proper flashlight, some work gloves, maybe a tarp to kneel on. Second, I should probably learn more about basic car maintenance. Second, I should probably learn more about basic car maintenance.
其次，我可能应该学习更多基本的汽车保养知识。
Second, I should probably learn more about basic car maintenance. Second, I should probably learn more about basic car maintenance. I realized I don't even know how to check my oil properly. I realized I don't even know how to check my oil properly.
我意识到我甚至不知道如何正确检查机油。
I realized I don't even know how to check my oil properly. I realized I don't even know how to check my oil properly. Third, I should always keep the number of a good tow truck service. Third, I should always keep the number of a good tow truck service.
第三，我应该始终保留一个好的拖车服务电话号码。
Third, I should always keep the number of a good tow truck service. Third, I should always keep the number of a good tow truck service. What if that nice man hadn't stopped to help me? What if that nice man hadn't stopped to help me?
如果那个好心人没有停下来帮我怎么办？
What if that nice man hadn't stopped to help me? What if that nice man hadn't stopped to help me? I could have been stuck there for hours waiting for assistance. I could have been stuck there for hours waiting for assistance.
我可能会被困在那里等待援助好几个小时。
I could have been stuck there for hours waiting for assistance. I could have been stuck there for hours waiting for assistance. The thought of being stranded in the middle of nowhere is terrifying. The thought of being stranded in the middle of nowhere is terrifying.
被困在荒郊野外的想法很可怕。
The thought of being stranded in the middle of nowhere is terrifying. The thought of being stranded in the middle of nowhere is terrifying. Especially as a woman traveling alone, you know? Especially as a woman traveling alone, you know?
尤其是作为一个独自旅行的女人，你知道吗？
Especially as a woman traveling alone, you know? Especially as a woman traveling alone, you know? My mom always told me to keep my phone charged and have a backup plan. My mom always told me to keep my phone charged and have a backup plan.
我妈妈总是告诉我要保持手机有电，并有备用计划。
My mom always told me to keep my phone charged and have a backup plan. My mom always told me to keep my phone charged and have a backup plan. Smart woman, my mother. I should listen to her advice more often. Smart woman, my mother. I should listen to her advice more often.
我妈妈很聪明，我应该更经常地听她的建议。
Smart woman, my mother. I should listen to her advice more often. Smart woman, my mother. I should listen to her advice more often. She also told me to learn how to change a tire before I got my license. She also told me to learn how to change a tire before I got my license.
她还告诉我在拿到驾照之前要学会换轮胎。
She also told me to learn how to change a tire before I got my license. She also told me to learn how to change a tire before I got my license. Did I listen? Of course not. I thought I'd never need to know. Did I listen? Of course not. I thought I'd never need to know.
我听了吗？当然没有。我以为我永远不需要知道。
Did I listen? Of course not. I thought I'd never need to know. Did I listen? Of course not. I thought I'd never need to know. Now here I am, 35 years old, finally learning automotive basics. Now here I am, 35 years old, finally learning automotive basics.
现在我在这里，35岁了，终于学习汽车基础知识。
Now here I am, 35 years old, finally learning automotive basics. Now here I am, 35 years old, finally learning automotive basics. Better late than never, I suppose. Better late than never, I suppose.
我想，迟做总比不做好。
Better late than never, I suppose. Better late than never, I suppose. At least now I have a good story to tell at parties. At least now I have a good story to tell at parties.
至少现在我有一个好故事可以在聚会上讲。
At least now I have a good story to tell at parties. At least now I have a good story to tell at parties. The day I conquered my first flat tire. Sounds heroic, doesn't it? The day I conquered my first flat tire. Sounds heroic, doesn't it?
我征服第一个爆胎的那一天，听起来很英勇，不是吗？
The day I conquered my first flat tire. Sounds heroic, doesn't it? The day I conquered my first flat tire. Sounds heroic, doesn't it? Though I'm sure it looked more like a comedy show from the outside. Though I'm sure it looked more like a comedy show from the outside.
虽然我确信从外面看更像一场喜剧表演。
Though I'm sure it looked more like a comedy show from the outside. Though I'm sure it looked more like a comedy show from the outside. Picture this. Me in my business outfit, wrestling with a tire iron. Picture this. Me in my business outfit, wrestling with a tire iron.
想象一下，我穿着商务装与轮胎扳手搏斗。
Picture this. Me in my business outfit, wrestling with a tire iron. Picture this. Me in my business outfit, wrestling with a tire iron. I probably looked like I was fighting the car rather than fixing it. I probably looked like I was fighting the car rather than fixing it.
我可能看起来像是在和汽车搏斗，而不是修理它。
I probably looked like I was fighting the car rather than fixing it. I probably looked like I was fighting the car rather than fixing it. The whole thing reminded me why I usually take public transportation. The whole thing reminded me why I usually take public transportation.
整件事提醒我为什么我通常乘坐公共交通工具。
The whole thing reminded me why I usually take public transportation. The whole thing reminded me why I usually take public transportation. No flat tires on the subway, right? No flat tires on the subway, right?
地铁上没有爆胎，对吧？
No flat tires on the subway, right? No flat tires on the subway, right? Though I suppose trains have their own set of problems. Though I suppose trains have their own set of problems.
虽然我想火车有自己的一套问题。
Though I suppose trains have their own set of problems. Though I suppose trains have their own set of problems. Delays crowds that one person who plays music without headphones. Delays crowds that one person who plays music without headphones.
延误、拥挤，还有那个不戴耳机播放音乐的人。
Delays crowds that one person who plays music without headphones. Delays crowds that one person who plays music without headphones. At least with my car, I control the music and the temperature. At least with my car, I control the music and the temperature.
至少开我的车，我可以控制音乐和温度。
At least with my car, I control the music and the temperature. At least with my car, I control the music and the temperature. And I don't have to stand next to someone eating smelly food. And I don't have to stand next to someone eating smelly food.
而且我不必站在吃臭食物的人旁边。
And I don't have to stand next to someone eating smelly food. And I don't have to stand next to someone eating smelly food. Every mode of transportation has its trade-offs, I guess. Every mode of transportation has its trade-offs, I guess.
我想每种交通方式都有其权衡。
Every mode of transportation has its trade-offs, I guess. Every mode of transportation has its trade-offs, I guess. But today definitely made me appreciate reliable public transit. But today definitely made me appreciate reliable public transit.
但今天确实让我欣赏可靠的公共交通。
But today definitely made me appreciate reliable public transit. But today definitely made me appreciate reliable public transit. Anyway, enough about my automotive adventures. Anyway, enough about my automotive adventures.
无论如何，关于我的汽车冒险就说这么多。
Anyway, enough about my automotive adventures. Anyway, enough about my automotive adventures. How was everyone else's morning? Any drama to share? How was everyone else's morning? Any drama to share?
其他人的早晨怎么样？有什么戏剧性的事情要分享吗？
How was everyone else's morning? Any drama to share? How was everyone else's morning? Any drama to share? Please tell me someone else had an interesting commute story. Please tell me someone else had an interesting commute story.
请告诉我其他人有趣的通勤故事。
Please tell me someone else had an interesting commute story. Please tell me someone else had an interesting commute story. I can't be the only one who had car trouble today. I can't be the only one who had car trouble today.
我不可能是今天唯一遇到汽车故障的人。
I can't be the only one who had car trouble today. I can't be the only one who had car trouble today. Mike, didn't you mention your car was making weird noises yesterday? Mike, didn't you mention your car was making weird noises yesterday?
麦克，你昨天不是说你的车发出奇怪的声音吗？
Mike, didn't you mention your car was making weird noises yesterday? Mike, didn't you mention your car was making weird noises yesterday? And Jessica, how's that parking situation at your apartment complex? And Jessica, how's that parking situation at your apartment complex?
还有杰西卡，你公寓大楼的停车情况怎么样？
And Jessica, how's that parking situation at your apartment complex? And Jessica, how's that parking situation at your apartment complex? Last week you were complaining about the construction blocking your usual spot. Last week you were complaining about the construction blocking your usual spot.
上周你还在抱怨建筑工程堵住了你常用的停车位。
Last week you were complaining about the construction blocking your usual spot. Last week you were complaining about the construction blocking your usual spot. It's funny how we all have these little daily struggles with transportation. It's funny how we all have these little daily struggles with transportation.
有趣的是，我们都在交通方面有这些小小的日常斗争。
It's funny how we all have these little daily struggles with transportation. It's funny how we all have these little daily struggles with transportation. But we rarely talk about them until something dramatic happens. But we rarely talk about them until something dramatic happens.
但直到发生戏剧性的事情，我们很少谈论它们。
But we rarely talk about them until something dramatic happens. But we rarely talk about them until something dramatic happens. Like my tire explosion this morning, now suddenly everyone has a car story. Like my tire explosion this morning, now suddenly everyone has a car story.
就像我今天早上的轮胎爆炸，现在突然每个人都有汽车故事。
Like my tire explosion this morning, now suddenly everyone has a car story. Like my tire explosion this morning, now suddenly everyone has a car story. Tom just remembered his battery died last winter during that snowstorm. Tom just remembered his battery died last winter during that snowstorm.
汤姆刚想起去年冬天暴风雪期间，他的电池没电了。
Tom just remembered his battery died last winter during that snowstorm. Tom just remembered his battery died last winter during that snowstorm. And Linda's telling me about the time her engine overheated on the freeway. And Linda's telling me about the time her engine overheated on the freeway.
琳达正在告诉我她的发动机在高速公路上过热的那次。
And Linda's telling me about the time her engine overheated on the freeway. And Linda's telling me about the time her engine overheated on the freeway. We should start a support group for commuter disasters. We should start a support group for commuter disasters.
我们应该为通勤灾难成立一个互助小组。
We should start a support group for commuter disasters. We should start a support group for commuter disasters. Hi, my name is Susan, and my tire went flat on Highway 101. Hi, my name is Susan, and my tire went flat on Highway 101.
嗨，我叫苏珊，我的轮胎在101号高速公路上没气了。
Hi, my name is Susan, and my tire went flat on Highway 101. Hi, my name is Susan, and my tire went flat on Highway 101. We could meet weekly and share our automotive horror stories. We could meet weekly and share our automotive horror stories.
我们可以每周聚会，分享我们的汽车恐怖故事。
We could meet weekly and share our automotive horror stories. We could meet weekly and share our automotive horror stories. Actually, that might be therapeutic. We could learn from each other's mistakes. Actually, that might be therapeutic. We could learn from each other's mistakes.
实际上，这可能很有治疗效果。我们可以从彼此的错误中学习。
Actually, that might be therapeutic. We could learn from each other's mistakes. Actually, that might be therapeutic. We could learn from each other's mistakes. Like maybe if I'd heard Linda's overheating story before today. Like maybe if I'd heard Linda's overheating story before today.
比如，也许如果我在今天之前听过琳达的过热故事。
Like maybe if I'd heard Linda's overheating story before today. Like maybe if I'd heard Linda's overheating story before today. I would have paid more attention to my car's warning signs. I would have paid more attention to my car's warning signs.
我会更注意我汽车的警告信号。
I would have paid more attention to my car's warning signs. I would have paid more attention to my car's warning signs. Come to think of it, my car has been pulling slightly to the left lately. Come to think of it, my car has been pulling slightly to the left lately.
仔细想想，我的车最近一直有点向左偏。
Come to think of it, my car has been pulling slightly to the left lately. Come to think of it, my car has been pulling slightly to the left lately. I just assumed it was the road camber or something. I just assumed it was the road camber or something.
我只是以为是路面倾斜或什么的。
I just assumed it was the road camber or something. I just assumed it was the road camber or something. Now I realize it might have been the tire losing pressure gradually. Now I realize it might have been the tire losing pressure gradually.
现在我意识到，可能是轮胎逐渐失压。
Now I realize it might have been the tire losing pressure gradually. Now I realize it might have been the tire losing pressure gradually. These things don't usually happen suddenly, do they? These things don't usually happen suddenly, do they?
这些事情通常不会突然发生，对吧？
These things don't usually happen suddenly, do they? These things don't usually happen suddenly, do they? There are usually warning signs if you know what to look for. There are usually warning signs if you know what to look for.
如果你知道要寻找什么，通常会有警告信号。
There are usually warning signs if you know what to look for. There are usually warning signs if you know what to look for. I should probably get my other tires checked this weekend. I should probably get my other tires checked this weekend.
我这个周末可能应该检查一下其他轮胎。
I should probably get my other tires checked this weekend. I should probably get my other tires checked this weekend. What if they're all ready to blow? That would be just my luck. What if they're all ready to blow? That would be just my luck.
如果他们都准备爆胎怎么办？那就是我的运气。
What if they're all ready to blow? That would be just my luck. What if they're all ready to blow? That would be just my luck. Though I suppose it's better to find out in a parking lot than on the highway. Though I suppose it's better to find out in a parking lot than on the highway.
虽然我想在停车场发现比在高速公路上发现要好。
Though I suppose it's better to find out in a parking lot than on the highway. Though I suppose it's better to find out in a parking lot than on the highway. Prevention is always better than dealing with emergencies. Prevention is always better than dealing with emergencies.
预防总是比处理紧急情况要好。
Prevention is always better than dealing with emergencies. Prevention is always better than dealing with emergencies. That's going to be my new motto. Check everything twice, replace before it breaks. That's going to be my new motto. Check everything twice, replace before it breaks.
那将是我的新座右铭，检查2遍，坏之前就更换。
That's going to be my new motto. Check everything twice, replace before it breaks. That's going to be my new motto. Check everything twice, replace before it breaks. Of course, that approach could get expensive pretty quickly. Of course, that approach could get expensive pretty quickly.
当然，这种方法可能很快就会变得昂贵。
Of course, that approach could get expensive pretty quickly. Of course, that approach could get expensive pretty quickly. Car maintenance is like healthcare, ignore it and pay later. Car maintenance is like healthcare, ignore it and pay later.
汽车保养就像医疗保健，忽视它，稍后付出代价。
Car maintenance is like healthcare, ignore it and pay later. Car maintenance is like healthcare, ignore it and pay later. But deal with small problems before they become big ones. But deal with small problems before they become big ones.
但在小问题变成大问题之前解决它们。
But deal with small problems before they become big ones. But deal with small problems before they become big ones. I learned that lesson the hard way with my last car. I learned that lesson the hard way with my last car.
我从上一辆车那里艰难地学到了这个教训。
I learned that lesson the hard way with my last car. I learned that lesson the hard way with my last car. Ignored a small oil leak until the engine seized up completely. Ignored a small oil leak until the engine seized up completely.
忽视了一个小的漏油，直到发动机完全卡死。
Ignored a small oil leak until the engine seized up completely. Ignored a small oil leak until the engine seized up completely. Had to buy a whole new car because the repair would have cost more. Had to buy a whole new car because the repair would have cost more.
不得不买一辆全新的汽车，因为修理费用会更高。
Had to buy a whole new car because the repair would have cost more. Had to buy a whole new car because the repair would have cost more. Sometimes being cheap ends up costing you more in the long run. Sometimes being cheap ends up costing you more in the long run.
有时候，小气从长远来看会让你花费更多。
Sometimes being cheap ends up costing you more in the long run. Sometimes being cheap ends up costing you more in the long run. But it's hard to justify spending money on preventive maintenance. But it's hard to justify spending money on preventive maintenance.
但很难证明在预防性维护上花钱是合理的。
But it's hard to justify spending money on preventive maintenance. But it's hard to justify spending money on preventive maintenance. Especially when the car seems to be running fine. Especially when the car seems to be running fine.
特别是当汽车似乎运行良好时。
Especially when the car seems to be running fine. Especially when the car seems to be running fine. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's been my philosophy. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's been my philosophy.
如果它没坏，就不要修理它，这一直是我的哲学。
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's been my philosophy. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's been my philosophy. But maybe that philosophy needs some updating. But maybe that philosophy needs some updating.
但也许这种哲学需要一些更新。
But maybe that philosophy needs some updating. But maybe that philosophy needs some updating. If it might break soon, fix it before it does sounds better. If it might break soon, fix it before it does sounds better.
如果它可能很快坏掉，就在它坏之前修理它，听起来更好。
If it might break soon, fix it before it does sounds better. If it might break soon, fix it before it does sounds better. Anyway, I should probably get back to work now. Anyway, I should probably get back to work now.
总之，我现在应该回去工作了。
Anyway, I should probably get back to work now. Anyway, I should probably get back to work now. This flat tire adventure has already eaten up half my morning. This flat tire adventure has already eaten up half my morning.
这次爆胎冒险已经吃掉了我半个上午。
This flat tire adventure has already eaten up half my morning. This flat tire adventure has already eaten up half my morning. I have that client presentation at 11, and I still need to review my notes. I have that client presentation at 11, and I still need to review my notes.
我11点有客户演示，我还需要复习我的笔记。
I have that client presentation at 11, and I still need to review my notes. I have that client presentation at 11, and I still need to review my notes. At least I have a good excuse if I seem a little scattered today. At least I have a good excuse if I seem a little scattered today.
至少，如果我今天看起来有点心不在焉，我有一个好借口。
At least I have a good excuse if I seem a little scattered today. At least I have a good excuse if I seem a little scattered today. Sorry, I'm still recovering from my epic battle with automotive maintenance. Sorry, I'm still recovering from my epic battle with automotive maintenance.
抱歉，我仍在从与汽车保养的史诗般战斗中恢复。
Sorry, I'm still recovering from my epic battle with automotive maintenance. Sorry, I'm still recovering from my epic battle with automotive maintenance. That should get a laugh and maybe some sympathy points. That should get a laugh and maybe some sympathy points.
这应该能获得一些笑声，也许还有一些同情分。
That should get a laugh and maybe some sympathy points. That should get a laugh and maybe some sympathy points. Though I should probably clean up a bit before the meeting. Though I should probably clean up a bit before the meeting.
虽然我在开会前应该收拾一下。
Though I should probably clean up a bit before the meeting. Though I should probably clean up a bit before the meeting. Can't show up to a client presentation looking like I wrestled with machinery. Can't show up to a client presentation looking like I wrestled with machinery.
不能看起来像是和机器搏斗过一样出现在客户演示中。
Can't show up to a client presentation looking like I wrestled with machinery. Can't show up to a client presentation looking like I wrestled with machinery. Good thing I keep a spare shirt in my office for emergencies. Good thing I keep a spare shirt in my office for emergencies.
幸好我在办公室里准备了一件备用衬衫，以备紧急情况。
Good thing I keep a spare shirt in my office for emergencies. Good thing I keep a spare shirt in my office for emergencies. My mother always said to be prepared for anything. My mother always said to be prepared for anything.
我妈妈总是说要为任何事情做好准备。
My mother always said to be prepared for anything. My mother always said to be prepared for anything. She'd be proud to know I finally took some of her advice. She'd be proud to know I finally took some of her advice.
她知道我终于听取了她的一些建议，会很自豪。
She'd be proud to know I finally took some of her advice. She'd be proud to know I finally took some of her advice. Even if it took a roadside tire change to make me realize she was right. Even if it took a roadside tire change to make me realize she was right.
即使需要路边换轮胎，才让我意识到她是对的。
Even if it took a roadside tire change to make me realize she was right. Even if it took a roadside tire change to make me realize she was right. Parents always know more than we give them credit for, don't they? Parents always know more than we give them credit for, don't they?
父母总是比我们认为的知道的更多，不是吗？
Parents always know more than we give them credit for, don't they? Parents always know more than we give them credit for, don't they? All those lectures about responsibility and preparation suddenly make sense. All those lectures about responsibility and preparation suddenly make sense.
所有那些关于责任和准备的说教突然有了意义。
All those lectures about responsibility and preparation suddenly make sense. All those lectures about responsibility and preparation suddenly make sense. Maybe I should call her tonight and admit she was right about car maintenance. Maybe I should call her tonight and admit she was right about car maintenance.
也许我今晚应该打电话给她，承认她关于汽车保养是对的。
Maybe I should call her tonight and admit she was right about car maintenance. Maybe I should call her tonight and admit she was right about car maintenance. She'll probably say, I told you so about 15 times. She'll probably say, I told you so about 15 times.
她可能会说，我告诉过你大约15次。
She'll probably say, I told you so about 15 times. She'll probably say, I told you so about 15 times. But then she'll offer to teach me more about taking care of my car. But then she'll offer to teach me more about taking care of my car.
但然后她会提议教我更多关于照顾我的汽车的知识。
But then she'll offer to teach me more about taking care of my car. But then she'll offer to teach me more about taking care of my car.